In this short video, we will explain how to import planograms in StoreVisualizer. I am using version 18.01 of StoreVisualizer. And the very first thing we're going to do is create a new virtual 3D environment in which we can import that planogram. Let's go for the store with sloped skylights. Switching to view mode, I can freely look around in this environment. I can switch to store layout view and zoom out and prepare this view for when I'm about to import my planogram. Notice in your scene we have the planogram section as well as in the tools. However, in the tools, by default it is hidden. So you would activate this little toggle right here to show planograms. This will also activate the import planogram, after which I have the opportunity to select my CSV file, my comma separated value file, which essentially is a text file containing all the different SKUs, the brand name, and category. So this typically is a file that was output by another program. Notice I also have a folder with images. These are just plain two-dimensional flat PNG files, obviously, representing each of those SKUs. In a later point in this demonstration, we'll see that we have the ability to replace those by true 3D models. But let's start by importing this CSV file. After importing, we can generate the product shape, which could be the actual product thickness, or we can manually define this thickness. We can set the file scale, the type of shelf bracket we want to use, and whether or not we want to use price tags. Clicking on the Import button, StoreVisualizer will generate the different product models. After the shelf model is generated, we can now go into a product view to place this shelf. We switch to Object Control, Placement, and we can snap this beverage aisle against the wall in my store. Exiting the bird's eye view and switching back to my move tool, I can move forward, and looking over my right hand shoulder, I can see the aisle I just imported. Notice how all these objects are flat two-dimensional objects. We can zoom in and zoom out. And in your scene, again, you will notice in the product section the different segments, the way this aisle was built in the original program. So let's go ahead and import our three-dimensional library. So I'm going to click on the library tool and import my beverage aisle 3D models. And you'll notice that all the 2D models will now be replaced by their 3D models, which I can see here in my library. So zooming in on one particular item, in this case the Hoegaarden Grand Cru, I can select this array. I can also search for that specific brand. After which my model browser will show me my 3D object. Here I have the possibility to generate a report using the array settings. First of all, I can make this eye look a little more realistic by adding some randomness to the scene. We can do this by using the rotate and offset randomizer, the clutter, and again in the X and Y direction I can shift these objects. Once I am happy, I can go into the settings menu and generate my report. Here we have 5 different tags. The header allows you to specify your company name and product name. You have the opportunity to introduce a logo here as well. In the next section, we can take a snapshot of the beverage aisle. In the product section, we can load the model that is displayed in the model browser, and comments, and finally we can export this as a PDF document. I notice there's a little bug here where the item does not get loaded in the report. Let's go ahead and cancel out of that. Don't save. Close this. And show you that at the bottom of the scene menu, we have the model metadata, where we can hide or show the product metadata. So again, in object view, with my cursor selected, I can click on any of these products and the system will display any of the model metadata that was brought in with the model. The pivot view is a great view to focus on one object and pivot around that point. So there you have it. In summary, StoreVisualizer allows you to easily import planogram files from third-party systems and replace the items with 3D models, generating reports and viewing the store.